The arena trembled long before the first bell ever rang, a living beast of noise and anticipation, as thousands poured in to witness a clash that felt bigger than boxing itself. Under the blinding cathedral lights, sweat, smoke, and tension mingled in the air, like a storm ready to break. Tonight was the final chapter of a rivalry carved in blood, pride, and unspoken destiny. Alex the Hammer Cortez, the relentless brawler forged in the hard streets of East LA, walked in with a record built on brutality, fists like stone, heart like steel, and a past filled with scars no camera ever captured. Across from him stood Darius the Ghost Coyote, the undefeated Nigerian tactician whose footwork was poetry and whose punches were whispers that carried destruction. Their paths had collided years before in heated press conferences, narrow decisions, and split opinions, but this was the night everything would be settled. The crowd roared as the lights dimmed, chanting names, choosing sides, creating a wall of sound that shook the ring ropes. Cortez entered first, chin high, eyes burning with vengeance. He'd promised knockout or death trying. Coyote followed, calm as a lone wolf, the kind of silence that made the world lean in. Both men knew what was at stake: legacy, redemption, and the kind of immortality only granted to those who walk through fire. As the referee brought them to the center, the arena held its breath, and the cameras closed in on two men about to trade not just punches, but pieces of their souls. And in that moment, before violence took over, the entire world felt it. This wasn't just a fight, it was fate demanding a final answer. From the instant the bell rang, it became clear why this fight was destined for legend. Cortez stormed forward like a man possessed, unleashing heavy hooks that echoed off Coyote's guard like thunder on steel. Each step he took was a message, each punch a warning. He wasn't here to outbox anyone. He was here to break a man. Coyote, ever the strategist, danced on the edge of danger, gliding backward with a calm that mocked the chaos in front of him. He slid just outside the reach of Cortez's hammering blows, answering with crisp jabs that sliced the air like surgical instruments. The crowd felt the shift with every exchange, raw aggression meeting clinical precision. In round two, Coyote began laying traps, pivoting off the ropes and snapping Cortez's head back with counters that were so sharp they stole the breath from the first 5 rows. But Cortez only smiled, that violent grin that told the world pain was just fuel for him. Round 3 saw sparks turn into fire. Cortez cornered Coyote for the first time, ripping vicious body shots that thudded like broken drums. Coyote winced, ever so slightly, and the crowd roared as the first crack appeared in the undefeated champion's armor. Yet Coyote answered with brilliance, sliding under a massive left hook and firing an uppercut that nearly lifted Cortez off the canvas. The arena erupted in disbelief. For a moment, they just stood there, warriors locked in a silent promise. They would not go home intact. The bell saved them from themselves. But as both corners scrambled to bring their fighters back to life, one truth had already become clear. This wasn't a boxing match. It was a war being carved round by round. By round 4, sweat and adrenaline coated the ring like a battlefield mist. And both fighters carried the marks of war. Cortez with a swelling cheek, Coyote with a thin cut above the right eye that threatened to spill wider with each passing second. The pace grew savage. Cortez kept marching forward, absorbing Coyote's jabs as if they were mere raindrops on a storming night, responding with rib-shaking hooks that forced the champion to move or die standing. Midway through the 5th, momentum tilted like a ship on rough seas. Coyote, sensing Cortez slowing just enough, unleashed a masterclass of movement, sidestepping, pivoting, firing straight right hands that cracked loud enough to be heard over the crowd. Cortez staggered for the first time, blinking as though waking from a dream. The ghost smelled opportunity. He doubled his jab, floated around Cortez like smoke, and peppered him with combinations that showcased why he had never tasted defeat. But Cortez, fueled by grit that seemed carved into his bones, refused to fold. In round 6, he trapped KO'd once more against the neutral corner and unloaded a barrage that shook the entire arena. The body shots were monstrous, each one a thudding reminder that Cortez didn't need to land clean to hurt a man. He only needed to land. KO'd's guard dropped for half a heartbeat, and Cortez pounced, detonating a brutal left hook that sent the champion reeling sideways into the ropes. The crowd exploded. This was the closest anyone had ever come to dropping the ghost. But KO'd held, surviving on instinct and heart as the bell sounded and the world rose to its feet. The momentum had swung twice in one round, and nobody could predict what storm awaited next. By the time round 7 arrived, the fight had become something primal. Two men stripping away everything but willpower as exhaustion gnawed at their lungs. KO'd's slick movement slowed, his legs heavy from Cortez's merciless body attack. Cortez, too, carried the weight of war on his shoulders, breathing fire between rounds, blood tracing a thin red river down his cheek. Yet neither man looked ready to surrender. Round 8 unfolded like a scene etched into boxing folklore. KO'd steadied himself, relying on pure technique to regain control. He unleashed dazzling three-punch combinations, jab, cross, hook, that snapped Cortez's head back and momentarily restored the elegance that had defined his career. The crowd sensed KO'd digging deep into reserves few fighters ever truly possessed. But Cortez simply refused to fade. He whopped through everything, fists clenched, jaw locked, eyes burning with the defiance of a man who had lost too much in life to lose here. In round 9, the fight descended into chaos. Cortez caught KO'd with a pulverizing right hand that sent the champion stumbling across the ring, legs buckling, eyes glassy. Half the arena rose in disbelief as Cortez pressed forward, throwing bombs with murderous intent. KO'd held on, slipping just enough, clinching when he could, relying on survival skills earned in a lifetime of ring wars. With seconds left, KO'd answered with a desperate counter, an uppercut from the depths of instinct that stunned Cortez and brought the crowd to its knees. Both men staggered as the bell rang, nearly collapsing into their corners. Trainers shouted, cutmen scrambled, adrenaline poured like gasoline on smoldering warriors. These weren't rounds anymore. These were confessions of who they truly were. When the bell rang for the 10th and final round, the entire arena rose as one, sensing they were about to witness something that would echo through boxing history. Cortez stepped out first, battered but unbroken, his legs shaky, his breathing ragged, yet his eyes filled with the fire of a man who had never let life dictate his destiny. KO'd followed, chin lifted despite the swelling, blood staining the edge of his mouth, his expression carved with equal parts pain and unyielding pride. There was no more strategy, no more game plans, just two exhausted gladiators ready to give whatever remained of themselves. Cortez charged like a storm breaking free, throwing brutal hooks that forced KO'd to bite down and trade. The ghost answered with surgical precision, firing straight rights that cracked against Cortez's jaw, each one a reminder of the skill that built his legacy. The final minute was warfare. Cortez trapped KO'd in the corner and unleashed a flurry so violent the crowd seemed to scream in one voice. KO'd nearly wilted. But with the instincts of a born champion, he spun out, planting a perfect counter on Cortez's chin that froze the challenger mid-step. Both men swayed, both on the brink of collapse, but neither willing to bow before the other. The final 10 seconds rang like a drum of destiny. They stood center ring, trading punches until their bodies betrayed them, swinging on heart alone as the arena thundered in disbelief. When the bell sounded, they fell into each other's arms, warriors who had left pieces of their souls on the canvas. The judges read their cards. A hush fell. Winner, by split decision, Darius the Ghost Coyote. Some cheered, some protested, but all understood. On this night, boxing had been given a masterpiece, and both men walked away legends.